What's going on YouTube? Claic Yuzolt back again with another Final Fantasy Brave Exvius video, and today we're going to review all of the new characters when it comes to Dragon Quest XI. They're going to be short, tiny, concise reviews, but I'm going to give you all the information you need on why these characters are good or bad, and then we're going to go over the new type of way that Dragon Quest XI was done this time as compared to last time, and Gumi's generous 5 silver keys are getting people a lot of units. Let's get into it. So again, guys, these are going to be quick little fixes when we talk about these units. I'm trying to get them all in here so I don't bore you to death. Let me know if you like this way or the old way better, and if there are less units, obviously we can do the old way a little bit more. So Erik's going to be the top damage dealer. My favorite unit from Dragon Quest XI, going to be out of all the units that you can get from this collab, he's going to be the best one in terms of how much damage output he can do. He's a physical chainer that did get his chaining frames changed from Stardust Ray with our boy CG Rain to Bolting Strike. So again, I have no idea what Global and Square Enix and Gumi are doing with these chaining families, but I've learned that all of them are the newer ones they're kind of going to are pretty easy to do by hand, so maybe that's where they're going with it, but I'm unsure of why they switched him off of Stardust Ray when we, are just trying to get into that meta. His TMR is actually exceptional, besides one little caveat there. It is a 140 attack dagger, earth element attached to it, gives you 50% true dual wield. Now, the only bad thing about this thing is it has earth element attached to it. So if you're not trying to earth chain, you're not trying to do earth damage, it's kind of useless, right? Because you have to be doing that earth damage. So keep that in your mind when you get this dagger. It's really good for Erik himself because he is an earth impaler and earth damage dealer. Next up comes his STMR, which I was a little bad about reading correctly in my news video. Knickersnack. It's going to give you 80% attack as long as you have a dagger or sword. Any of the combination of the two of those three, and it's going to give you 80% MP along with 100% LB fill rate. Really, really strong 80% attack. The bad side of this, if you want to say there is one, it is an STMR. There are other STMRs that give you around the same attack percent on a materia, and it's not exactly connected to 2 different weapons you have to have on. And the other passive 80% MP is awesome, but at the same time, we have so much MP regeneration on a lot of our teams that I would much rather that be a killer or some kind of other passive like true dual wield, true double hand, things like that. So that's why this STMR isn't the best for me, but it's still pretty good. Moving down through Erik's kit, he's going to have an ability that imperils Earth, 120%, pretty high imperil, and then he's just going to chain it up. He's going to be using double Rubble Rouser. Divide is going to boost up his attack by 250%. It's a cooldown. Put up his modifiers to Fatal Flash and double Rubble Rouser, put his LB up, which you are going to be casting as LB, and then Fatal Flash is going to be his big damage dealing ability. You see it does not have Earth attached to it, while we do have Earth attached to his other abilities. So you are going to have Earth either imbued or on your weapon to use him 100% correctly. He does have the ability to put up physical damage of 50% increase to dragons. So that's your option. If you're going to use him against dragons, you can use that. Moving on down to his LB, which is going to be something you are going to be using. It hits one time, it's like a finisher. It's big damage on the LB, 17.5 times, 50% ignore defense, and increases modifiers to his 2 chaining abilities you want to be using in double Rubble Rouser and Fatal Flash. His passives, you are going to build him true dual wield. He has dual wield innately. He gets a bunch of true dual wield passives going on. You can go through these on your own and read them, but you definitely want to have his you want to have his TMR or STMR equipped. It's not the biggest. Look at this passive, but I do think the LB gauge going up 4 per turn to be able to cast this ability here and increase the modifiers every 5 turns, it could be important. And also his dagger, of course, has earth element to help him hit with Fatal Flash to be doing earth damage. So overall, again, he's a super simple damage dealing unit. He is tied almost exclusively to the earth element though, which kind of roughs for him because some of his abilities have earth already attached to them. But he is doing the most damage right now. He's up at the top when it comes to global, okay? He's not as strong as his JP counterpart was, but he's still doing really well. And a lot of people are wondering, hey, they said they weren't going to be nerfing units or changing units in a bad way. Those are specific to what the Summon Fest units were. So if a unit was in the Summon Fest on JP, I do believe that's what they meant. They'll change them or buff them. When it comes to these limited time collabs, I guess they're still doing a thing where they kind of hinder their power. But Erik is excellent and a very big damage dealer. A couple of negatives I talked about, but another one that you guys want to consider is finding an Erik friend. Although he does have Bolting Strike strike. Remember, he has a specific rotation he has to do with his LB, along with the fact that, you know, you have to do Earth Elemental Chaining. Next up is Sylvando, going to be a support kind of damage dealer, but mostly support unit. Looking down through the TMR, we have Chivalry skills, increase HP and MP by 40%, not the best thing in the world in my opinion. Then we have Shimshar of Light, 162 attack, sword, light element attached to it, and you have the ability increases HP 20% and recover MP 10% per turn. I would say both this TMR and STMR are just not even worth looking at in a lot of cases. I'm not saying that newer users cannot benefit from this, but a lot of the time I want HP, spirit, and then some kind of elemental resist. I don't really care for the MP too much. I think we're just past that point. A lot of the units with doors and pots, they're past that. So overall, not too excited about the TMR and STMR. Looking over what Sylvando could do, very, very good support unit. Has the ability to increase LB gauge up, has the ability to put up mitigation, as we can see, 30%, puts up LB gauge by 4 to all allies. Also has an ability Luminary, which is going to increase everybody by 180% for all their stats. Physical damage is mitigated, and then puts up LB damage for my LB damage users out there by 35% in combat, which is going to be fantastic. And then Fuddle Dance and Hustle Dance are both going to be increased, where we're going to increase, we're going to do some Confusion, we're going to do Attack and Magic 180% for 5 turns, and we're going to increase Fire and Wind percent by 80% for 5 turns. And then Hustle Dance is going to be restore 60% HP and MP by 30% to all allies, so kind of like healer support in that way. Increases Defense and Spirit by 180% for 5 turns, and then Earth and Dark Resist can go up by 80%. And these numbers are actually pretty high when you're trying to reach those thresholds of not taking damage and being immune. So he can double cast all these abilities with his LB, which is kind of like nothing. It does physical damage and can inflict charm 50%. It's pretty high, but I mean, most things, you know, it's just like a trick. He's going to unlock his ability to triple cast a lot of his abilities, so we're going to turn that on, and you know, you can triple cast these abilities. The problem is that is Electro-Light and Let There Be Light are not attached to these triple cast and double cast, and what this does is I don't even care about using these abilities. I would not use Electro-Light without using Let There Be Light, because essentially if you do use this ability, you have the chance of decreasing all elemental resist 20% to yourself, and you never want that to happen. The upside is you get all elemental resist 50% up. But if you use it after Let There Be Light, which means 1 turn, your support is, and sometimes you can do that. Like a lot of times you got all your buffs up, your support can do this. Taking a turn off to upgrade Electro-Light. Once you use Electro-Light, it's a huge buff. All stats up by 200% for 3 turns. All elements resist by 80% for 3 turns, which is going to be fantastic. But one of the downsides is it is using LB gauge crystals. So you're going to have to like have his LB gauge filled up and then use There Be Light, and then it upgrades Electro-Light so you can use that. So he has the abilities to, like, you know, he even has breaking, defense and spirit breaking. So he has a lot of the things you want. He has damage mitigation. He has, you know, buffing, very good buffing, some healing, some MP regeneration. But again, we have Sylvie and Global, which kind of makes any other unit, if they don't stack up to Sylvie's level, be that great. It's just not exactly where I want to be with my, like, I'm not looking to replace Sylvie or replace some of the other supports I may have already. He does have the ability to put an HP barrier, but it's weaker than what even CG Reigns is, with a little bit of MP regeneration there, which is great. Just overall, when you look at somebody like, and then obviously he has all these different passives. Soldier of Smile, if you do have his TMR on, it's going to give him HP and MP recovery 5%, and then also has a little bit of a heal and refresh on everybody else except for himself, because he's kind of already doing that to himself as it is. So while this unit can triple cast these abilities, he can't really be triple casting in his best ability, and his best ability also has to cost almost all of his LB gauge anyway, or all of his LB gauge. So kind of a tough unit to really recommend here. Sylvando, cool unit. I love the guy in the game, but not as strong in my opinion in FFBE. So when talking about Jade, very unique, beautiful looking sprite, but Jade really isn't going to have the damage she needs to be packing a punch in global. Not saying that you can't get it done with Jade if you end up pulling her with your silver keys. She's actually a pretty complicated character with a lot of move sets, when really you have to go through all these bells and whistles, which a lot of people find fun, some people don't when they're trying to deal with the trial. And then she really can't produce the damage that these other units can. I'm talking about, she's back almost to Sora damage, the upgraded Sora damage, and I know a lot of people were kind of disappointed with that, so that's what you're going to get with Jade if you end up getting her. She is a damage dealer, has Bolting Strike, Divine Runation, which again is, I think, where I thought Global was going, and then they gave me CG Rain, didn't change him, and then now they're going back to it. No idea what's going on with that. TMR, Allure skills, increase attack 40%, chance to counter physical attacks with Allure. inflict charm 30%, or decrease attack, decrease attack and magic by 60% for 2 turns, and then also give you a 20% attack with close. So honestly, you can have like this little mini breaking material on maybe your tank if you can afford it. It doesn't have really any tanking stats along with it, more of attack stats, but you know, if your physical damage tank is getting smacked in the face, and then they can also break every turn, it really gets rid of the other need to have a breaker, because these breaks are 60%. Are they the highest in the world? The 74%, the 80% that we've seen on some other units? No, but I mean, just getting it for free, if they're retaliating with this, they could even end up charming the enemy that you're facing. So I think it's a very unique, cool TMR to get your hands on. Next up, we have the Lance here, Split Pot Poker, 180 attack, and it is a two-handed weapon. I didn't see that, I don't guess, when I was looking at the news article, but it's attack 180, effect Split Pot Pump, increase physical damage against beasts, birds, and machines by 25%. That's kind of a low number, especially on a two-handed weapon, but hey, we get what we get. 180 attack isn't low, though. That's pretty high up. Having the extra killers on it is pretty cool, and it's a two-handed weapon. Again, if you guys are out there using spear users, or if you want to use them, you can go ahead and grab this weapon. It's not a bad one by any means. I really wish I would have been 50% to the killer abilities, though. But not going to talk too much on Jade, and the reason being is, guys, she's just, in my opinion, she's not that important to a lot of people. First off, I'm not saying you Jade lovers out there should be questioning, you know, how much you like her. I'm just saying her damage really isn't that high, and I have a lot to talk about in this video. So essentially, Jade, we can go over a little bit, I guess. Maybe I should. Jade is going to be a lightning damage dealer, doing lightning physical damage, going to be lightning chaining, bolting strike, so maybe you will like that with your Esters a little bit, but the problem is that Esther wants to use that LB, chaining it up and figuring that stuff out. Does have access to triple cast right here, and then does have a stronger ability that you guys can be using with this lightning physical damage, so it looks like a lot of her abilities do have lightning paired to it, so you don't have to have a lightning weapon in her hands, and maybe not even have to imbue, depending on what exactly you're going to go with here. Has a strong LB. We're going to be able to do some LB damage, increase your attack by 300%. But again, we can go all the way through all this stuff. But in the end, she is a damage dealer that just doesn't produce the damage that we're used to in the current meta. So when wasting materials or maybe wasting that gold key, I would not be looking to use it with Jade. Moving on to the last of the heroes, we have Rab, and I think he is the most unique and fun-looking unit out of all of them. Even though I love my boy Erik, and he does put out that damage, kind of boring on the end of the damage dealing abilities. Rab is very unique in a lot of the things he can do, and also dishes out probably the highest hybrid damage we have in the global right now. He may be around around that. He's pushing the top. Now that doesn't mean he's the highest in all the game. Hybrid damage dealers in global and even JP, they're not pushing the same kind of damage that normal physical or magic damage dealers can push, but they have that unique ability to be able to do both attack and magic damage, and push past some of those mitigating factors, or take advantage of maybe a low spirit or a low defense and really push that. Do you understand what I mean? So that's the power of a hybrid damage dealer. We have Bolting Strike and Stardust Ray on here, so we're not forgetting about Stardust Ray yet, so I guess Global's just kind of going wherever they want. We have Meteorite Bracer, going to be attack 40, magic 40, and Meteorite Momentum. It's going to give you an increase of 100% fill rate. Now, if you don't have something like Mouth's STMR, this is going to be the option you want to go to on a lot of your hybrid damage dealing units you may want to use. Next up, we have Godbird Scepter, which literally is just a big stat stick, a big rod that's perfect for hybrid damage dealers, attack and magic attached to it. Love it. What makes Rab so cool? Why am I so excited about him? First off, he does have quad cast. So we're gonna cast 4 times, and he can cast all this shit 4 times. And he has that up off of a cooldown that's up for 4 turns. He also gets Solar Flare. Believe it or not, Solar Flare is in the game. It's a big hybrid damage dealing ability. Yes, I just needed to say Solar Flare. And then he also has triple cast, which he'll be able to unlock with Caster Sugar for 6 turns. So he's going to be casting a lot of these abilities all together. I love when they give a unit so much uniqueness to itself. So what can he do? Well, he specializes in wind, lightning, and dark damage, and he can imbue that wind, lightning, or dark element on his on your other party members. So he has the ability to do that with his triple, with his quadcast if you want. He has a nice big 90 MP recovery to everybody refresh, except for himself. He can't put that on himself, but another great thing about him is he's doing this damage. He's doing very good damage. I'm not talking about top tier, CG Rain, Erik, Godria, that kind of damage, carton damage, but he's doing respectable damage while packing the punch of this nice support, nice little bow wrapped on top of it. Looking on down, he does auto cast Soul of Sage every turn as long as he has his TMR or STMR on. And what that does is recover MP 40 to all allies every turn. So every turn you're getting a 40 MP refresh just for having him on your squad. And I love that. That is so unique and so powerful in my opinion. Really helps with these MP problems that some people may run into if they don't have, certain units being able to cast the abilities want to. But if you really set it up, MP hasn't been a problem yet. I see CG Rain kind of struggling a little bit, but it hasn't been a problem in the recent meta, I guess I could say. Next up, he is going to be doing Lightning Wind or Dark Hybrid damage, be pumping it out, and doing that with 3 casts, 4 casts, whatever he wants, using these abilities up here. Excuse me, guys. The sickness. And he's going to be doing that with Bolting Strike. Now, again, I know we've been over this, and we'll keep going over this through this banner review. Attaching an element to an ability is both positive because you don't have to worry about imbuing and all that kind of stuff. You don't have to worry about putting a certain weapon on. That ability has it attached. But it does hold that unit into that element. So you can't just put a random weapon on somebody, imbue them, and imperil them with a different element. If the boss is immune, if that element does something bad to the boss will hit you back with a counter if you use that element. These units kind of get screwed over. They're not going to be able to be used as well. And then you also can't pair them with as many other units if they just had abilities without it. But again, the positives are there for that kind of thing. Moving on down to his LB, I love it to death. Wind hybrid damage 89 times to all enemies. Remember, hybrid damage, these modifiers are great, but with hybrid damage, they are a bit less great than they would be if they were just magic or physical. Decrease lightning, wind, and dark resist 100%, so you can use any of those abilities. He imbues them, imbues them on allies, on himself, and then uses them in his abilities. Increase physical damage against Reapers 200%, and magic damage against Reapers 200%. Find a Reaper, this is the guy to go to. Remember, though, with hybrid damage dealers, they only take into account physical killers. So this isn't going to be 400% against Reapers for his hybrid damage dealing. It's only going to be the 200% when he uses physical or hybrid skills, and then if he uses a magic skill, it's going to be another 200%. But I still love it and think it's really awesome. Rab has that kind of, he has healing as well that he can use, and he can quad cast that, or cast that 3 times as well. And he has a revive too to help you stay through the fight, do the damage, support. I think Rab's the whole kit. His damage dealing isn't top tier, but it's nothing to laugh about, which is why Rab might be one of my favorites here on the banner. So looking up the 2 bad guys that are new to the banner here, we have the Lord of Shadow, Stardust Chain, Ray Chain coming in at us. The beginning of the end is going to be that ability that pretty much takes all status effects on everybody off and does damage to the enemy. Kind of unique, but again, we have a lot of units to do that already, and they also even have that thing where they only remove the negative things or the positive things on the enemy. I'm not saying it's not something cool to have in your back pocket for a trial you may need it on. So that's what makes it unique and kind of cool to have, but it's not going to be immediate all the time use. It's going to have those unique uses, which really could save you on a trial coming out. His STMR is Sword of Shadows, a great sword with a dark element attached to it, 2-handed weapon, 178 attack, high attack stat on a weapon, but remember, you are going to have to be using that dark element if you do use this sword, which is kind of its downfall in some areas. Now, if you want to be doing dark damage, it'll be awesome for you, but if you're not, then that's where a lot of people aren't going to see as many uses out of it as if it didn't have maybe that dark element and had another passive attached to it. Looking down through his damage, guys, he's not going to be doing that much damage, sadly, as compared to a lot of the newer units already in the game, but he can do okay damage, and he really does it around using the ability Blade of Ultimate Power. It looks like a really weak ass ability here, but you're going to be using a lot of things that are going to buff it up. Blade of Ultimate Power amplified. He can decrease attack and magic by 80% for 1 turn, so maybe if you're about to hit mitigate damage taken 100% for 1 turn to 1 enemy. So if you're about to hit I guess a big threshold, you can use this, hit him, and this is after, because it's mitigating damage taken for 1 turn to 1 enemy. So it sounds like that enemy is going to take no damage if you cast this on it for 1 turn, so the enemy's turn would go off. But you're also bringing his attack and magic by 80%. So this is, I guess, is an ability, if you know it's a big threshold coming up, you can really take down the enemy's attack and magic and not take as big as a hit, which is pretty cool for him to have on his own. But again, this unit is somewhat complicated in the fact that you have a lot of the rotation just building up the different multipliers on the squad and then going out and damage dealing with Blade of Ultimate Power. We do have, some HP barrier, but again, he's not really that big of a support. I think this is his biggest supporting ability, and I'm not trying to say that's not that good, because 80% breaks in a time that you may need it is really nice, because remember, the higher you get with those breaks, the damage mitigation is very, very nice. We can see here we have this unique little ability here, Midnight Magic Burst, 5 turns on cooldown, available on turn 5, single cast when dual wielding, so it's not going to cast twice. Physical damage, it's going to be, what is that, 68 times with the ignore defense, 50% to all enemies, and then next turn give him 100% MP back to himself, which is very interesting. Big time damage dealing ability, but again, sadly, because of the rest of his kit and the way it works, he's really not hitting those high marks that you would probably want out of a new unit at this stage in the game. And then looking at his LB, we'll go over that really quick. Increase LB damage for 1 turn to caster. Increase dark resist by 100% for 3 turns to all enemies. Decrease, excuse me. I was like, increase all enemies. What the heck? Decrease, so he has the Imperil attached. And he does an okay amount of damage on his LB. Adding the 59% LB damage is nice, but again, at the end of the day, he's trying to be a chainer, I do believe, because, you know, he just doesn't work out to be the biggest LB damage dealer in the world, and you're going to be using more than likely Blade of Ultimate Power with him. So I'm not saying that his sprite looks awesome. He definitely looks like he's coming out of Dragon Quest here at FFBE, but not the one out of the 2 that you probably want to be going. Now, the last guy you were thinking, maybe he is an LB spammer. Jasper Unbound is an LB damage dealer, does a lot of damage through his LB, 50 times multiplier on that, and with a bunch of CD abilities to help him power up. Moving down, he does have Stardust Ray Chaining. TMR is the Strategist. Increase HP 20%, attack 30%, and attack up by 30% with a fist weapon. So this is a 60% attack materia with HP 20%. And again, this is why I'm going back to the whole Erik STMR. This is 60% with 20% MP. And I know Erik's STMR has that 80% MP, but a lot of times, I mean, I just don't see much use in that. And this is a TMR compared to an STMR. So I don't know. For me, I wish Erik's STMR was a little bit more unique, powerful. I don't know. So this is pretty good then, huh? The TMR is pretty good. Supreme Sentinel. Increase attack and magic by 60%. Increase physical and magic damage against humans by 75%. Now, this is what I'm talking about. The killer abilities are always amazing to have on these materia stacking up. So we have attack and magic going up by 60% with no weapons needed on an STMR. No weird weapon combinations you need. And then you get a 75% increase. This could be used on hybrid damage dealers. This could be used on magic damage dealers. This could be used on physical damage dealers. That's where I like my STMRs to be if I'm really going to be hunting for them. I really like this STMR. I think it's very good. Moving on down through this big man, we are going to be casting. Okay, so with Lightning and Dark, he's going to be going here 100% Imperil. We're going to be using all of these different cooldown abilities. Sorry, guys. Again, I'm fighting through this. To do his damage. And he's going to be doing Dark and Lightning damage, all the while building up his LB gauge to be able to come in and swoop in with that Big Daddy LB. He's very simple, but very cool. He also has the ability, yes, I love this ability. And this is what people are wondering, like, you know, why should I pull for this unit? Or, you know, Claic, I'm trying my best nowadays to try to look toward a unit and show you guys what's unique about them. And this is really good. I know it doesn't sound like a 12-turn cooldown. Remove all buffs from all enemies. This is important. When you hit those thresholds, when you hit those points in the turns, when they buff themselves, and you really need to remove that buff, but you don't want to get rid of your breaks. You don't want to get rid of your imperils. You don't really want to reset the enemy. These moves can come in handy big time. And with the fact that Jasper does do nice damage in the meta, I love that ability on my damage dealer. Heck yes, and it can be put into his more than one casting, I guess you could say, as we move through. He does have triple cast, excuse me. Let's just confirm that he can use that. I kind of just turned him off. Moving on up, yes, he can do it in his triple cast. So it could be like, all right, we're on that turn. Go ahead and get rid of all the buffs on my enemy that he just buffed himself, and then go back to chaining, go back to using these CD abilities, because he is still going to be doing Stardust Ray Chaining. It is going to be, again, like we talked about with Dragon Quest, it seems like they're really attaching the element to the ability, which can be, like we already talked about, positives and negatives with that. And then he's just going to scroll on down and be like, by the way, check out my giant 50 times LB damage dealing ability, and I'm going to buff up all these other abilities with a modifier. So essentially it goes like every time his LB's up, you're going to cast it, and then on the off turns, you're going to be casting all these different kinds of CD abilities, and that's pretty much him. Let me see if he has lightning and dark imbue. You're gonna have to do one of these because his LB doesn't have an element attached to it. Oh, it does. It has dark. So get out of here, dude. I get it. You're just gonna be doing dark damage. It looks like you're gonna be going down the dark damage way. So yeah. So again, I like it because it's unique. A lot of units, again, you have to imbue. You have to worry about imperiling. But it does kind of corner them in a way to make them easier to use, stronger in that way. But then they can't really get out of using the dark damage. Like right now, like Jasper's going to be stuck with dark damage. He does have lightning, but I mean, if his LB, his big damage dealing ability is going to be dark, that's where you're going to be on him. So that's Jasper, guys. If you get him, be excited. First off, he looks awesome. Second off, he's really strong. All right, guys, so moving out of the realm of the actual banner review, I hope that was good. It was kind of quick. I want to talk about the actual event right now. So we have a raid event going on, and it's going to be different than the other raid events we had in the past. A bit different. Things are going to seem familiar. Go to the rewards here. I cannot believe Gumi did this. 5 silver keys right off the bat. Literally do a whole run of your orbs, maybe not even all 5, and you get the keys. And these keys are what you're going to use in this new box system. We're going to have, I don't want it to come back. Like, I got to be honest with you. The key system, excuse me. The key system I don't like. It still seems too RNG to me, and I know what's going to happen to me, but I've been hearing outstanding results from people who ended up using these keys. So where do you use the keys, guys? You go to the standard summon, and you can choose between Dragon Quest 11, the old units. So if you want to get your hands on those, if you click on what's in the box, this is what's left in the box, right? So I have 4 11s, 4 Veronicas, 4 Serenas, and then I have 3 of a Trust Moogle, and then 3 of another Trust Moogle. One's 50%, one's 10%. So when I use this key on this banner or the other banner, I will get one of these. And each time, so all you gotta think about is you take a box and you put their names in this bag, right? You take the names, you put all, 4 11s, 4 of the Veronicas, 4 of the Serenas in a bag, 3 of the 50% and 3 of the 10%, and you're just going in there and picking one out. Every time you use a silver key, you're allowed to pick one out, and you get one of them. So we have 5 shots at getting a 5-star base unit from these heroes. Now, on my case, I'm going to be moving over to, and you can get super unlucky and get only TMR Moogles. I haven't seen that yet, but you can. And looking at this box, it's a similar deal, but we have 4 of the hero units. All the new ones are here. They separated them. And then we have more of the Trust Moogles and more of the 10%, 50% to kind of make up and even the odds against you on that. So I am only going to do 2 of my key summons here on this video. I'm gonna save the other 3 for stream later tonight, okay? So wish me luck. I want Erik so bad, or Rab. That's where I want to go with this. Let's see what happens when I pull my first name out of that box. Let it be a unit. We don't want a TMR Moogle. No TMR, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies. I got Rab. Do you see that? I just got a 5-star unit. I just got a 5-star unit, and we didn't have to grind our asses off. People aren't gonna miss out on it. They just only have to do a little bit. Again, the problem with this is you can get extremely unlucky. 1, am I ever going to make Rab a 7-star? Who knows? I have to wait for the prisms to come to the shop, or I could try to get lucky when it comes to, let's see, when it comes to, pulling again with the silver key. Or somebody could use all 5 of their silver keys and get nothing. Get only TMR Moogles. Now, I'm going to use one more, and then I'm going to talk about something else I want to do with this. Give me Erik or give me Rab. No TMR Moogles. No TMR Moogles. So now, one of the Rabs are taken out of it, so I have less of a chance to get Rab. Let's see what happens here. Erik. Rob, oh my god! I have 7-star Rab! That's so lucky! That's so lucky! That is amazing! So we're gonna save the rest of the 3 for stream, but how cool is that? Now, to everybody out there, be like, it's super hype because you have these 5-star base units. There could be bad things that happen to you, but that is where you do it. Another thing is, if you feel adventurous, if you look at the step-up summon you can do for this, you get 1, 2, 3, 4 silver keys from doing the step-up, which means 4 more chances at those boxes to pull those 5-star base units. These boxes have saved the key event somewhat. I do not want it to return because I think it's just RNG on top of RNG, but if you do this whole step, who knows what you're going to end up with. This is much better than it was last time. The only problem is, again, you can't pull the hero units they list up here from the actual 5Ks, from the step up, but you do get these keys where you can pull them out of the box. So that's very interesting. The other thing that they're doing differently now is in the actual raid, when you go to, I think it's a limited time, or they put that in standard summon as well. They did. It's going to be kind of the same, the same deal, but there's going to be different tiers. So we have our first box. You can see these are our options. As you go through, there's a lot of different stuff you can get. And again, if there's only one of it, if you pull one of it, it's gone. And you slowly take all those names out of the box until you get everything you want. And then you can move on to the next box. And then at a certain point, I think you have to pull the featured things. So if you pull all of the featured things, you can actually click the advance and go to the next box. So you don't have to stay on this box forever. If you get everything you want out of it, and you can see they have the different characters, TMRs and things like that. If you end up pulling everything you want out of here, you know, and you don't want to pull any more, you can just move on to the next box, which has this, and the next box has this. But if you look, we have 2 Super Trust Mastery tickets, STMR Moogle tickets you can get in every box. That's 10 of them. If you get them all, that's 10. That's well on your way to another STMR Moogle or finishing the one you have. I absolutely love this system. It's much different than what we were used to in a way, because you're still summoning. So let's do a little bit summon in our first box. We're going to do it. We have 10,000. We have just enough. Let's do the 10,000 pull, and let's see what we end up with, so I can show you guys exactly how it works out. So let's see what this pull is going to yield for us today. So you can see it kind of looks like you're doing the normal thing, right? Oh, that looks so normal. That looks like what we got a lot of the all the TMR Moogles. But then when we go, let's see, come on, STMR ticket, dude. And no. So we couldn't get that there. It looks like, see, it shows the 4-star ticket here, but I don't know if I saw that anywhere in these boxes. There could be another box after box 5 you kind of go to where you keep just redoing it, and it may have that in there. But you can see that I've taken 1 out of 2, 1 out of 2, all 2 of these, 1 out of 2. And I have to end up getting, and I have 1 of the featured right here. I need to get all the featured. I do believe that's when I can advance it. Now, you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments or not. But yeah, so all I want to say is best of luck to all you guys using those silver keys. I hope you get what you want. I can't believe I got Rab as 7-star. That's insane. I may get lucky enough to get Erik 7-star on stream tonight. I hope you guys are there. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below. Tell me what you think of the box system, and also tell me what you feel about those fast, super quick reviews of a unit. Do you hate it? Do you want me to go back to the old way, or did you kind of prefer it because it didn't take too much time, besides there being a million units? Subscribe for future content. Catch me on my Twitch channel tonight, where we're going to be playing this and going through these boxes and experimenting. It's on twitch.tv/Claic Yuzolt. You can ask me questions live. We do have fun with each other and things like that, so it's a great time. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.